Hi, and welcome back to They Say It Takes a Village. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to give a massive shout out to the incredible and talented team at Wear That Now. If you're anything like me, short on time, but you've got occasions coming up through the year, you probably want to head to Wear That because going to the mall is super stressful, especially when kids come along. You end up driving around for hours looking for parking, dragging kids from store to store, and potentially bribing them with sugary treats just to try on that one outfit. So that's a thing of the past because what Wear That Now do is team you up with your own personal stylist after you fill out their style survey on Instagram. That stylist will then curate a box to suit every style, every budget, every occasion. They send you the box. It comes delivered to your doorstep. You try on the outfits at home. The outfits that you like, you keep. And the ones that you don't, you simply return. So do yourself a favor. Head over to their Instagram account, which is at wear.that.now. Fill out their style survey. Get the boxes and the outfits. Take some photos of your looks and DM them to me. Happy shopping. Have you ever heard the phrase, it's not the mountain we conquer, it's ourselves? Well, my next guest has successfully conquered it all in every aspect of her life. It's very difficult to describe Raha Moharrak. She is an adventurer, a mentor, an advocate, and an ambassador, to say the least. She has also successfully climbed the 7 summits of the world, as well as had been the first Saudi female and youngest Arab to successfully climb Mount Everest. Now, that's a massive achievement in such a short period of her adult life. And I've convinced her to sit across the table from me so I can ask her 1,000 questions in the hopes that she can inspire you to go on your own personal adventure, whatever that may be. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the mic to Raha.
You didn't need to convince me. It was my pleasure.
Are you kidding?
I'm happy to be here.
Oh my goodness.
She didn't need convincing. Like immediately when she contacted me, I said yes. I was just going through a really busy time at the time. But
regardless.
It wasn't convincing. I was happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. You don't understand. I mean, in terms of fangirl, I mean, that has become my...
It's mutual.
No, it's literally...
Habibti.
Really. I mean, I'm so grateful that you're here.
I have to give it to you. You're consistent. Like I have to give it to Raya. She's very consistent. And I love that. I love the tenacity and she didn't give up even though when I was really busy.
No, I wasn't going to let it go. Like, even if I had to come and knock on your door.
She's like, hi, what's up? And I genuinely wanted from the beginning to do it. I just wasn't here and I was really busy that time. So.
Well, that's the thing. Like the fact that I know how busy you are and I know the nature of your life.
That is during the Saudi Games, that specific time, I was really busy and stressed out. I wasn't even here.
I know. I'm so grateful.
I'm happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. I'm telling you, like fangirl status right now. Like this is amazing. And I'm so thankful. And your story, honestly, is, it was quite difficult. I was saying to everybody around me, my mom, my sister, everybody has heard. I will. And I was saying to them, it was quite difficult to pack it all in.
I'm a bit of a layered cake. Like I have a lot. You're very lucky.
The level and the complexity of your achievements. I mean, I feel each one needs its own episode.
I'm so grateful. Looking back now, I sometimes think, what was I thinking? Like I look back now, I'm like, oh my God.
No, but it's really,
I'm so proud of it. But when I was doing it, I was so hard driven and so focused that I had tunnel vision in a good kind of way. Yeah. Because if I was looking at it from a broader perspective, I would have freaked out. But, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more sunblock. I always put sunblock, but a little bit more like zinc sunblock when I was climbing.
That's unbelievable. I'm going to take you all the way back.
Okay.
So just the fact that you are the youngest Arab, first Saudi woman. I mean, obviously you've climbed everything really.
Almost.
I mean, everything, but I feel Mount Everest seems to be like the one that makes the headlines.
Look, it's the one that makes the headlines because it's the biggest one. It's the most famous one. It's one of the most significant, but it's not the most difficult.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
But not by any stretch of the imagination. It's not the most difficult, but it is maybe the most complex.
Okay.
Because it's huge and it takes 2 months but It's the one that people care about because it's the mountain.
Yeah.
But it's not the most difficult. I hate to break it to people because this is a bit of like a spoiler, but it's not the most difficult. Like I would do Everest 10 times before I'd go back to Denali, for example. I would never go back to that one. I had to do that one twice. Yeah. You can ask me later.
I will.
In the end, because it's a downer.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just,
it is.
It's part
I
of
hate
this,
that.
like,
I mean, I hate
adventure.
and love that mountain, but it wasn't kind to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a unique experience, and when I did it, it was a very special moment in women's history for the region, because I didn't know I was one of the first. I didn't know that.
I mean, that's massive.
So fun fact, I only realized that this was a thing and I was the first when I went to Antarctica.
Oh.
So I was I was doing multiple mountains before Everest, and I went to Antarctica to train. And when you land in Antarctica, you register in the registrar book. And the register people were like, "Are you aware that you're the first Saudi, female to come here to climb?" I'm like, "No, I didn't know that." And then I realized that I'm the first for many other mountains, including Everest. So it wasn't really like a lot of people think that it was like I knew and it was a goal. No, it was extra. It was a side thing. It was a cherry on top.
Your passion.
Yeah, it wasn't the driver. I didn't know I was the first. I was already climbing. I was already doing it. Yeah.
So, I mean, just take us all the way back to baby Raha.
Baby Raha,
Was this something, did you always have an adventurous streak?
Yes. Yeah.
So growing up, you were always like the one that's like ready to jump off the monkey bars or something like that.
Monkey bars? Who? Like, I remember we had a beach house, and the beach house is in front of a pier, and the pier goes way out into a pier for boats.
Okay.
It goes way out because the boats need the depth, right?
Yeah.
And our beach house was in front of the pier, so you can see the pier, but it's miles away. And I remember at night, black water, dead at night. I used to have no fear. I used to jump off the pier and swim back to the beach house myself. None of the other older kids accepted or were willing. We're not going. We're not going. Black water, pitch black, and I had no fear. I would just jump off and swim, and go up to the beach house. And it was like, "Where did you come from?" I'm like, "Here."
Is it the curiosity, or is it more like, can I do it?
It's a mix of. I was my social media handle, which is my motto, is living curiously. Yeah. I'm super curious. Yeah. But it's also a lot of guts. Like I was always very, very gutsy. Like looking back now, I'm like, what was I thinking? Brave. I was always very brave and very curious and hungry to live. To really live, to try everything, to experience everything.
But honestly, that's wonderful. I mean, I think it's also a testament to your upbringing, because you probably felt really supported.
My
to go
parents
and explore.
Oh my God! Like they instilled in me this sense of exploration, because I was always taught to dream and to read and to look at the world. And if you want to ride a horse, you learn how to ride a horse. If you want to climb, you go climb. Like if you want to be a scuba diver, you become a diver. Like that's what I grew up in. Yeah. But my siblings are not the same, though. We grew up in the same house, in the same but they're not the same. Yeah. They're not as adventurous as I am. They're not as wanderlust bitten as I am. And I'm the youngest, so it kind of makes sense that the youngest is always like
a little bit more against the grain.
But I think it's a mix of, I was always like that, always, like from earliest memories, no fear. I hope I don't have kids like me. Zero fear.
No, it's I think you probably were calculated.
I do calculated risk, and I like to challenge myself. Yeah. I like to challenge myself. Like when I started diving, I wanted to become a dive master. When I started climbing, I wanted to do the 7 summits.
Not just diving for leisure. Yeah, to go all
dive
the way.
Master. A few years ago during COVID, I got approached to do a documentary. This is true story. I got approached to do a documentary, and it was a paramotor documentary.
Okay.
So I didn't know what a paramotor was.
I don't know what that is.
Exactly. So I said yes. They're like, "Are you willing to learn how to?"
A paramotor.
Paramotor. So I immediately said yes, not knowing what it was. I thought it was like some kind of plane or some kind of thing you fly. I'm like, yeah. No. It's basically paragliding with a motor on your back.
Oh my God.
And I became a pilot.
Of the paramotor.
Of the paramotor. I learned.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Literally, they chuck you off cliffs in the first few weeks. After you do initially the controls left and right and stuff like that, they chuck you off a cliff. And it's not a small cliff. So that you can learn how to panic fly. My instructor,
panic fly. That doesn't even make any sense.
Because if you panic and you pull on it, you can kill yourself if you're high. So if a cliff is not so high, then you can. And I had no idea how to fly a paramotor, but I wanted to challenge myself. And I became a pilot.
Of course.
And I shot a documentary, a whole documentary in Neom in Saudi.
Yeah, of course. You can't just leisurely, hike up something. You have to get
and jump off. And it was an electric paramotor, the very first electric paramotor in the world. So I was the first female to fly the electric paramotor that was 40 kilos.
That's amazing.
So I have videos you have to see, like it's like a mini fridge on your back. And you have to run off the cliff, and when the cliff is done, you have to jump off the cliff.
Oh God! It's like the stuff of my worst nightmares.
I know, my poor parents, but it was just this sense of I want to learn this. Yeah. I want to learn a new skill, and I loved it because it's something new.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's a character. It's a type of character we all have, but we don't all hold on to adulthood.
It's so true.
You lose
it. Kids have no fear.
Most kids are very fearless if you raise them to be, but
it's us. Because I'm us. Like, Mama, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't be careful. Be careful. Yeah.
Yeah. So most of us are born very curious and fearless because it's how humans are.
Yeah.
But not everybody holds on to curiosity and your bravery as you become an adult because you overthink and you become worried. And I'm not saying do crazy things without thinking. For example, the paramotoring, it was during COVID and I trained. Yeah. Like I put
it's
hours.
Not like you're going in blind. Yeah. Without training.
That was
safety.
We had to fly in the day when it wasn't, the wind was calm. It was 4 a.m. and then 4 p.m. every day except Fridays for a month. So it was a lot. I had to fly out of town, out of the city to get it and stuff like that. Same thing with dive masters. It took me 6 weeks to get that. Same thing with mountaineering. Like I did 8 mountains before doing Everest and the other big mountains. 8, which is a lot. Like training. 8, So, takeaway of this is you want to do things. That's amazing. Do them right. Yeah. Like learn how to do it safe. Learn how to be, adequate in what you're doing, and don't just jump in and because that's dangerous. Yeah.
What do people need to understand about you as a person to understand all of your choices? Like one thing.
Curiosity.
Yeah. I was going to say
super
curious.
Yeah. Like I'm very curious. I feel like it's one of my biggest drivers is I want to see everything. I want to look and smell and, taste. I'm not curious with food because I have IBS. So I'm not curious with food.
You compensate.
I compensate. I'm not curious with food because everyone's like, wow, it must be great to travel with. I'm amazing to travel with, horrible to feed. Unless I'm climbing and then I eat anything.
But out of sheer necessity.
I once ate a sandwich that actually has sand in it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, in Argentina.
Kids eat those. Not out of necessity.
I don't like that.
Oh my goodness.
It fell on the sand and it was the only sandwich I had. I still ate it.
Eat it. Yeah.
I ate it anyway. I didn't even do that. I just crunched it. It was in Argentina. I'll never forget. It was a sandstorm in Argentina. Really bad sandstorm in Argentina. It was the only sandwich I had. I ate it. It was delicious.
At that point, just devour whatever.
Because it was like the last meal that wasn't in a bag. Like it was the last, what we call a depletable meal. Yeah. There's canned food. It was the last depletable meal. So it was the last real bread for a while. So I ate it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And you still remember it?
Oh my God. It was horrible. Now I think, but then it was like, this is gourmet. But yeah, I want to see the world. Yeah. I want to experience the world. And I think, that's the biggest driver for me. I'm very lucky. Last year, I hit 82 countries. Mashallah.
Mashallah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm very lucky. 82. And I want to continue.
Yeah,
If I do one
you
a
should.
year, maybe this year I'll just do one or two. I always say that.
It ends up like 7.
But this year I just want to chill a bit. We can get to that later, but yeah.
Did you, again, I guess we are in obviously a culture, whether it's Iraqi, whether it's Saudi, the culture
Arab culture.
Arab culture. Did you ever feel that there was a bit of a backlash when it comes to being such a out of the box adventure?
I don't think we have time for this one.
I mean, whether that's, again, I think it's more our parents are very supportive, but they have opinions. Mine do, at least. Is it your parents? Is it the society? Did you ever feel like there was a bit of you had to convince people, no, guys?
It's what will they say phenomenon.
What will they say? Was there anything like that?
Are you kidding?
Fully loaded question.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Like, yes. Anyone that does anything different is usually perceived as out of the box. Yeah. And what are you doing? It's just part of the culture. I respect it. I understand where it comes from. It doesn't mean I have to abide by it, but I understand where it comes from. It's not the norm. Even for men, at the time, it wasn't the norm to go and live in a tent in the middle of Antarctica. Like, it's not the norm.
No.
Male or female, it's not the norm. But I'm so proud to say that the norm has changed now. In my 10-year career as a alpinist, it has changed. You have more and more families that go together. You have more and more females, more and more males that go. It's changed.
But do you not take a little bit of responsibility for that change? I mean, you must.
I always say this, if I change one person's perspective or inspire, then I can live my legacy very happy.
Absolutely.
Because I'm no longer an anomaly, and I'm so proud of that. I'm still odd in my ways, but I'm no longer perceived, or we as athlete females who travel on their own, they're no longer perceived to be a shame or a burden or something bad. It's actually acceptable now.
Yeah.
You have more and more women traveling on their own, and more couples traveling. If you notice, more adventure as couples. So maybe I can take a little bit of claim.
No, for sure.
Maybe I can take a little bit.
Yeah.
But it makes it all the more worthwhile when I got the negativity and people were bad to me. I feel like it was worth it, because every single person that said a negative thing knows that I exist, and they can't take that away. My existence they know I exist. They might not like what I did, but they know that I exist. They know that there's
also, honestly, there's a bit of pride. I mean,
absolutely.
Even the negative person, there must be a sense of pride thinking,
no. A lot of them don't have a sense of pride. A lot of them are just like, what is this? This is wrong. This is against. It's ignorance and misunderstanding, because there's really nothing wrong with being an athlete. There's really nothing wrong with, there's no shame. You don't have to lose your femininity in order for you to be a badass athlete. And that's something that I feel like I broke.
You hit the nail over the head. Because you're looking at you now.
I look very feminine.
You're so feminine.
I look very feminine, very fragile, but in reality, I'm not.
In your beautiful floral dress.
Bamba, shout out to Bamba for dressing me today.
It's, your statement, you do not.
I do not look like.
Represent the.
No, I don't look like it, but trust me. You need to see my climbing videos.
No, I know. And the thing is, I've listened to you, and I've again, researching this, I feel like I did such a massive deep dive into your life that, it's just this versatility in life.
And you don't have to be one thing. You don't have to let go of your femininity or urubatik or your Arabness to be a badass mountaineer. You don't have to. And that's something that I feel like I broke, because everyone was like, if you become an athlete, you will lose your femininity and no one will want you and blah, blah, blah. And this whole tape, El Sharit, that we always hear. But in truth, you can't be multiple things. You can be a mom and be an Olympian. You can be these things. It exists. Absolutely. So I think the mentality has changed because they started to understand, there's nothing wrong with being an athlete. Sports helps prolong your life. Sports helps you be a healthy mom. Sports help you have healthy kids. So the perception has slowly but surely skewed towards this is okay.
Absolutely.
And I feel like every single negative comment, and I've gotten a lot, and every single bad situation I've ever been in socially, because I got attacked a lot. Not as much now, thankfully. I think with social media, you realize that I'm not the monster out there.
No,
There's
no.
way bigger monsters out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
A girl who loves to travel and play sports.
Yeah.
So I think social media is a two-edged sword, and it really it lifted the curtain on a side of Arabs that now I look very, very, very boring. Very boring
in comparison to what else is going on.
To what else? But 10 years ago, it was like a shock. So I'm so proud to say that it changed, it improved. There's a lot that you can see. There's a meter that has they warmed up to this, which I'm very proud of.
So again, 7 mountains.
Actually, I did 18. 7 summits.
7 summits.
Okay, the 7 summits, maybe your listeners don't know, is the highest peak in each continent.
Yeah.
So the 7 continents, I did those, but in addition to those, some of them need prerequisites. So I climbed
to qualify.
So I did a lot of volcanoes, for example. I did a lot of training, ice training, crevasse training, rescue. Did a lot of that. Just thinking about them, my knees hurt. I did a lot of that. So I did around 18 expeditions and the 7 summits.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But obviously, the most famous. Let's talk about Everest.
Everest. Everyone wants to talk about
Everybody has to talk about Everest. We have to. Walk me through it. Obviously you can't, but just generally, how long does it take? I mean, again, I'm not at all in that space.
It's okay.
So how long does it take to even prepare for something like that?
Okay. So because Everest is an assisted mountain.
Okay.
And what I mean by assisted is...
assisted.
Assisted.
Yeah.
Because there is a completely non-assist mountain and there's an assisted mountain.
Okay.
Everest is an assisted mountain.
Okay.
You have people assist you.
Okay.
What I mean is you have some Sherpas and some cooks and helping you carry the weight.
Yeah.
So you don't have to carry the heavy weights that non-assisted mountain. So Everest, the most difficult thing about Everest is the duration. It's 2 months. And then
from start to finish,
as an expedition is around 2 months.
Oh.
You can do speed climbing, which is smaller, but you have to sleep in a compressed bed.
Okay.
That's completely different. But I didn't have any money at the time, so I didn't do that. I did the classic old school 2-month thing, the peasant way of climbing it. I'm joking, but there are some people,
really long.
There are some people
I didn't take the shortcut.
There are a lot of really wealthy people that do the Express Everest, which they sleep in an incubator that helps them acclimate with the altitude and then climb it in less time. Yeah. It's Express.
Is it a bit of a cheat?
No, it's not a cheat. I think it's just a different way of doing it.
Okay.
It's not a cheat. Yeah.
Okay. I completely discredited so many people.
Yeah, I know.
I'll take that statement back.
No, but it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just a different way of doing it.
Okay.
Taking a helicopter would be a cheat, but like that, you're still going up. But anyways, back to Everest. So the most thing you need to prep for is mental stamina and physical fitness, not physical altitude fitness. So that takes a long time to prep for, and that takes a long time because it's endurance.
Of course.
Because there are some mountains that are shorter that are completely different training than Everest. But Everest, because it's so long, even though the backpack isn't heavy, the duration is very long. And the altitude up there, the oxygen becomes very, very little. Even though you have a mask, but still you're fatigued. You're still fatigued because it's 2 months climbing. And you can't go up Everest like one shot at a time. You have to one shot. You have to go small, one point at a time and come down, because our bodies are acclimated to live at a certain sea level. For example, us, we're at sea level.
Yeah.
Some people in the mountains are more above sea level. They have acclimated to that. But above a certain point, humankind are not meant to survive.
Okay.
So what you need to do is acclimatization, which is you go up for a little bit, you trigger your body's defense system to produce more O2s, and then you come back down and you sleep, you have double O2s. And then you have double O2, you go higher than where you were the night before, a little bit higher. You trigger your system because you're lacking O2s. You sleep there, you stress your system to it's producing O2s. And then when you come back down, you have triple the amount of O2s.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So you're going up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little.
Yes. You climb Everest 10 times, but you only go to the summit once. Pretty much. Because you go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'll give you an example of how efficient you become. The first time I crossed the Khumbu Icefall, which is the very complicated maze from base camp to camp 1.
Just to get perspective.
Okay.
How long does it take to get to the first base camp?
That I'm just.
Oh,
that's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Yeah.
You take a plane from Kathmandu and you land at Lukla Airport. Actually, they don't do planes anymore. They do helicopters now.
Okay.
Because that is one of the most dangerous airports in the world.
Is it?
Yes, a lot of people have passed away there. So we take a helicopter because it's safer. So you take a helicopter to Lukla.
Okay.
Lukla is a town, now it's become really big, that you start your expedition in. Then you gradually climb from Lukla to base camp, and that takes around 6 days or 7 days.
Okay.
And you stop at different towns. Beautiful towns, nice
That
people.
must be nice.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Tingbushe, Lukla, Gorakchep, Tingbushe, Nangbushe. They're really cute towns.
Yeah.
Lovely people, and the police people are amazing. So that takes 6 to 8 days, depending on your speeds and how many days you rest. You get to base camp, and then you start working on the acclimatization that I mentioned earlier. You go up and down, up and down. But you become efficient. As I was saying, the first time I crossed the Khumbu, took us 10 hours.
Okay.
The last time I crossed the Khumbu took me less than 3. I think 4 and something.
That's
Less than
amazing.
4. 3 and something, less than 4.
Because you became more efficient.
You become more efficient. Your body has become more acclimated. Your mind has become more adapted. And that was the most dangerous part after this death zone. And it was my favorite part.
I've got questions.
I felt like Super Mario, cause it's like, cause you're jumping from one place to the other, and it's on, ladders.
Yeah.
Horizontal ladders. So I really felt like Super Mario. Like horizontal, you have to cross the horizontal, and it's like a
fall.
You go to God, like if you go there. Yeah, so I love that. That's my favorite part of the ice fall. It's my favorite part. It's gorgeous.
Do you have
huge slabs?
Do you have things to hold on to?
Some places yes, some places no.
So it's a balancing act?
Some places yes.
Oh my.
And some places you just need to pass the ladder, which a lot of people don't like. These ladders. You know the ladders that they use to climb up?
The wooden ones.
Yeah, but they're metal.
Okay.
And then the tick. But they are horizontal, not vertical. They're horizontal.
So it's in between two crossing
crevasses. It's in between, yeah. That was my favorite part. I don't know. Some people don't like it, but I love that part. Anyways, that, and then you start going up and down. There's camp 1, camp 2, lower camp 3, higher camp 3, and then big push from camp 3 to camp 4, which is the death zone.
I was going to ask you, I mean, obviously you hear stories and you watch movies and,
they're all true.
Are they?
Yes.
Is it that yes. I don't want to be morbid, but
I know, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
So the death zone is really because of what it does?
That's a good, yeah. You're slowly dying. So if you stay a bit too long there, then you would eventually die.
So death zone is the uppermost part to get to the?
Yes. You are at 17,000 and change. 7,000 and change.
Okay.
7,000 meters and change.
Yeah.
I said 17 in feet because I was climbing the last mountain in US. So it's 7,800, and then the summit is 8,848. So it's the last 1,000 meters.
Oh my God.
And because the oxygen is so low, literally you're dying rapidly when you sit there. And a lot of people do die there. So it's called the death zone for a reason.
So when you get there, I mean, is there obviously I'm sure there's like a special procedure. I mean, how long does it take? Do you have to stay there for? You should
stay as little as possible in the death zone. So when you have a great guide, like I did, Garrett Madison, shout out to you. I miss you so much. He's one of the best guides in the world. The guide will time your camp 4 arrival, the death zone arrival, in time for a great weather window to the summit. So that you don't stay in the death zone for long because you are on oxygen by this point.
Okay.
You start oxygen from camp 3.
Okay.
Because camp 3 is already at like 6 something.
Super high altitude. Yeah.
So you don't arrive at the death zone tired. And between camp 3 and camp 4, there's something called the Geneva Spur or the Yellow Belt, which is a very difficult rocky face to climb.
Okay.
To get to camp 4. So you can't arrive tired. And then when you get there, if you have a great guide like Garrett, God protect him. He's always climbing now. I don't know where he is, but I send you good weather, Garrett.
Yeah.
Then you stay one night if you can sleep, and then you do the summit push that night you arrive. you shouldn't stay there for like 48 hours. It's deadly. Some people get lazy and they stay up there waiting for a weather window, but the more you stay up there, the more weaker you become.
I heard you one time mentioning something about the Hillary step.
Yeah.
What is the significance about that?
So the Hillary step is a very, as its name suggests, it's a step that's really narrow that every single person, including Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary, crossed to get to the summit.
Ah.
This step is very famous.
Okay.
And it's narrow and it's very beautiful. It's on a ridge.
Wow.
It's a very, very narrow ridge. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It changed over the years. A few years ago, there was an earthquake. It changed the shape, but it's essentially still there. It's like a knife edge. It's called the Hillary step. But it's very, it's an illusion because when you get to the Hillary step, you can see the summit, but it's not near. You can physically see the summit because the Hillary step is like a snake. It's like it's not straight, like it's jagged. And because it's not a straight line, it doesn't look far. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks like it's right there.
It looks like it's right there.
But it's constantly
if it was a straight line, you can assess it better because it's just, but it's not a straight line. There's literally parts of the Hillary step where you kiss the mountain. Like you put one arm on one side of the mountain, you kiss the rock, and then you put the other side of the other mountain, and you hope to God that you can go on. Yeah. It's really, really narrow. And there's a video that I need to find of someone trying to cross me in this area. It's another climber trying to cross me.
Cross over you.
Yes, being rude and trying to cross me. And because I'm waiting for my turn because only one person can go in one time.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for my turn and my Sherpa's behind me. Again, shout out to Ang Nurbu. I miss you so much. A great Nepalese guide. And he has a GoPro. And this guy out of nowhere just climbs over my Sherpa, tries to climb over me and tries to cut in the line. Look, we all look the same. We were all wearing almost the same gear, but the Saudi came out. The fingers came out. The fingers came out.
How dare you walk over me?
You have to see this video because we all look like, we're all goggled up. We're all wearing the same kind of suit, the same summit suit. We're all wearing the same, we look like we're from a factory.
Yeah.
And this guy comes and you can see in the video, like the Arab hands come up. Like, what are you doing? You can't hear anything because it's like wind and muffled, but you can see the Saudi. The Saudi came out. So I fought the guy, pushed him back. And
nice.
Yeah, because you cannot climb because if a person slips and
he's going to take everybody down with him.
Yeah, because you're wearing crampons with teeth. Your shoes have teeth.
At the front?
At the front, middle, and back. Teeth. Your feet. They're called crampons.
Crampons.
They're this thick. They're this long. Like they have teeth.
And then they go into the rock.
No, you can't put them in the rock. They go into the ice or the snow. But if you're going up rock and you slide with the tooth, it can hit someone. It can puncture.
Got you.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for this person to cross, and this guy wants to cut the line. I'm like, I don't let you cut the line in the supermarket. I'm not going to let you cut the line here.
In Everest.
In Everest. So I have to find that video because it's hilarious. Like I was like, it came out. The hands came out.
Just so that I can get a visual. Are you on the side of the mountain?
Yeah.
So you've got
on a ledge, on a ridge.
On a ridge, on the side of the mountain.
So it's on the right side, the mountain's on the right side, and the fall is on the left. Well, the graveyard. It's known to be the graveyard.
Wow, there's a graveyard.
Yeah. There's 300 bodies.
Oh my goodness. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can people not rescue these people?
That's a very good question. I used to think the same way before I got there. And you cannot. You can barely carry your own lashes. Like you're so exhausted, you're so tired. And I know this might sound a little bit morbid, and it's the reality. When you pass away, you're a little bit warm. Mm. But when you're gone, you become cold, and then you freeze. So you freeze, and you don't freeze in a position that helps you go down. You're in different positions. Yeah. So, and you freeze into the ice and into the rocks. So it's very difficult if someone's up there for a while to pull them off. And it's very hard. Most of the time, they what I said earlier, the graveyard. So they just shove them off the ledge. There's an area that is very famously the graveyard.
My God.
Yeah.
Were you scared?
Absolutely. Anyone that says that is either mentally ill or lying.
Yeah.
Of course.
And was there at any point, did you feel like, I don't want to do this anymore?
I never felt like I didn't want to do this anymore. I felt I was always aware of safety and what's going on. And my deal with my father and myself was life or limb. So if I was going to lose my life or my limb, then turn around and go home.
Yeah.
So that was
Good. It's a good,
like, I love what my dad said. He's like, Raha, the best thing about mountains, what is the best thing about mountains?
I love the impression.
My dad.
Yep.
No, daddy, what's the best thing about mountains? They don't move. Any problem, come back down. Next year we send you. They don't go anywhere. That's the best thing about the mountains. They don't
He has a smart man.
They don't move. It will still be there next year.
Absolutely.
So
don't put yourself at
You
risk.
have to be aware of yourself. You have to be aware of your capabilities, your team, your oxygen levels. Are you tired? Are you not tired? Because reaching the summit isn't everything. Coming back home to your family is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's a very old saying in the mountain world, going up is a choice, coming down is mandatory.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've climbed this. What was that? I mean, you got to the summit, the top. And then what did you feel? I need an explanation because
it's hard to explain.
It's a parallel universe. It's
very hard to explain because,
and then you've got the flag,
and you're wearing 8 layers, and you're wearing big gloves and mittens, and there's many people around you trying to take the same picture, and it's tough. And at that time, I had this tiny camera. I didn't have these nice cameras. I had this tiny little.
Take a photo of me.
And because it was a record, you have to show your face.
Oh.
And 2 people have to vouch that they saw you on the summit.
Okay, got you. It's not photoshopped or anything.
Yes, because some people do Photoshop. So you have to, a local guide and your international guide needs to vouch that you were there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I took a picture with both. So just to prove that I was there. No, I got there. This was after 55 or 56 days of climbing, 1 year of training. So I was already I'm ready to go. And, I got there and it was surreal. This is one of the most asked questions and I never know how to answer it.
Well, it's
hard to explain because you literally see the curvature of the earth. You see the curvature.
That's what I'm saying.
And you got there with your feet.
You got to a point where it's almost like...
It's surreal.
Yeah.
It's surreal. And it was beautiful, clear day. So you could see all the way to India and China. It was so, and it's a small space. The summit is a small space. The summit ain't a big space. It's a small space. It's very small.
Did you feel euphoric?
Absolutely. I felt everything. I felt
sad. I would have cried and laughed. And I just...
Sure, I didn't... I was laughing. I was happy, but I was still terrified because in my mind, I kept remembering majority of people die on the way down. Majority of people die because most people die on the way down. Yeah. Majority of people die on the way down. So I just wanted to take the picture, take it in, enjoy it, see it, and then get out because the weather can change very quickly and it's very, very dangerous. So I enjoyed it. And then I had a moment with Garrett again. I sat, we were there and I was just looking around. He's like, you're here, huh? You made it. And it was a surreal moment for me.
Incredible.
Amazing.
I feel like I've got goosebumps.
Yeah. And, to get there after all the difficulties and, being there first was amazing. And I always say this, I felt so grand and tiny in the same moment. I felt huge and tiny,
in comparison to the world.
But I also felt,
look what I've done.
Yeah. It was such a strange, contrasting feeling. But I was also really stinky and hungry. And tired.
After that time.
Yeah. I was ready to go.
How long does it take you to come down?
It depends on you.
Okay.
So, for example, me, I'm they used to call me speedy. I'm very average on the way up. I'm actually slow on the way up.
Yeah.
Because I like to take my time. But you can't be too slow that you're cold. But I'm not as fast on the way up. But on the way down, I'm fast. So I looked at Garrett and I said, can I go down? He's like,
let's go.
You can go. So me and my Sherpa just sped down. It depends on you.
Okay.
I like to get out. Just get it done.
But does it take days?
No, for me, the whole summit day took me, I think, around 12, which is fast.
Okay.
12 hours, which is really fast.
Yeah.
Takes people longer.
Yeah.
And then
you get to the summit.
Yeah. Okay. Summit push, which is that one push, the one continuous push to summit and then back down. A lot of people take them longer, but for me, I was very fast. And then you go down to camp one, you spend the night, and then the next day you can go all the way down to base camp or stop at camp 2. It depends on you.
Okay.
It depends on what you want. But like for the record, I think there's a minimum. I think there's a minimum of where you need to go.
Okay. I don't know.
There's a minimum. You can't just, for example, get helicoptered out of a place. For a record, I think you need to, there's a requisite.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah. Not to the top. Okay. I'm going to meet you down here. Pick me up in the helicopter.
I think because some people were doing that. And I think for records, it was like.
Not frowned upon, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
Then now, so that's Everest, but specifically again, on many interviews, I heard you say that Denali was your killer.
I hate to say hate. I don't like that mountain.
But why?
Why? Denali is a non-assist mountain. It's way smaller than Everest.
Okay.
It takes half the time, but it's a non-assist. So you're carrying 25 kilos on your back.
Okay. Oh,
and
that's
then,
a lot.
And then another 15 or 20 kilos on the sled. So total is like 30 something kilos. I was heavier at the time and I was carrying extra water and rope. So you're hauling like 80 or 90 kilos up there.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And it's grueling paced. It's very fast. There's no much rest room. You can't just rest. There's no time to rest. You have to constantly go because the weather constantly changes. It's extremely cold. It's colder than Antarctica.
My God.
Because of how it is near the ocean, it's a humid cold. It's cold.
It kind of sticks to you.
Sticky cold.
Yeah.
And it's Alaska, so it's not the friendliest in terms of the environment.
Yeah.
It's a very harsh environment.
How many times have you done that?
Twice.
Why? Okay, so the first time was really hard. So you thought, let me try again?
No, the first time was I hate talking about this, but the first time was horrible. A week before I was supposed to I get a phone call from the climbing company.
Yeah.
My guide, who I met previously, had passed away with his assistant guide on another mountain. And I think 6 clients. So 8 people.
Oh my God.
Fell off.
That's tragic. They
fell. They don't know what happened, but they died. So 8 people. And he was the guy that I was going with, him and the assistant guide, because I was going with this company. So that was very, his name was Matthew Higeman. So as well, my condolences to him and the family. So when Matthew passed away, they gave me to another company, which I didn't know well, with another guy that I didn't know at all, which is a mistake. Never go with a guy that you don't know. Never. Always go with a guy that someone vouched for. He was a disaster. He was racist. He was mean. He was just a horrible person. The team was weak. There was 3 people from, I want to say Taiwan, who didn't speak English. And then there was a Russian guy who didn't speak English and an American guy and me. So it was just like really difficult to communicate. Yeah. And besides the American guy, the rest were very weak. So it was very hard to stay. And then we had very bad weather. And then we got marooned at a certain altitude.
What does that mean?
We got stuck.
Oh, okay.
At a certain altitude because if you go past a ridge, the ridge can't be passable if the wind is above 15 or 20 knots.
Gotcha.
Because it's gonna blow you
away.
Yeah. So you cannot pass it. So we got stuck at 17,000 feet for 8 days, which is horrible. And then I got eczema everywhere. I developed ulcers in my tummy. I lost all my toenails from toe bag. Yeah. And then we couldn't summit because we ran out of food and no time. And the guide was lazy and didn't want to push. So we went back down.
That's not a good experience.
Horrible.
Did you then team up with somebody else that you had?
No, 2 years I didn't touch my gear.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not that
traumatic. Yeah.
But I didn't want to give up and I decided to, something just bit me. So strange. Something just bit me. And then I didn't want to give up because it was my 7th summit. It was the last one I had. So I went back again to climb it 2 years later.
And didn't like it, that experience?
I mean, I climbed it.
Yeah.
It was a better guide. It was a better team, but I still didn't like the mountain.
Yeah. Do you think it must have been something that sort of like because
Absolutely.
of the first interaction was not great?
I will never go back there.
But you went back to Everest as well.
No, I went back to base camp.
Base camp. I mean, still. I mean, I think base camp is people would.
But that was special. That was very special. That was it was a very special moment for me. So last year was my 10-year anniversary of Everest. Unbelievable. And I wanted to do something special and something that wasn't just for me. So thanks to the lovely team at Adidas, they fully sponsored a mentorship project. 2 ladies won the competition.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I love them. Debbie and Yasmin, I love you till now. They're family. And I mentored them, taught them, and they sponsored them to go to base camp to celebrate my 10 years. So I wanted to,
You wanted to be with them.
Yeah, I wanted to pay it forward, to pass the torch, Yeah. And it was so nice to go back.
Because you did, and I keep quoting you, you did mention that if you were to ever go back, you don't want it to be just for social media.
Exactly.
You want it to be impactful.
Yes, I wanted to help someone.
Yeah.
I never had that. When I started climbing, I never had anyone who could sponsor me or mentor me. It was very, I only had one hike was sponsored out of all of them. One hike, which is the first hike that Princess Rima, who is an amazing beacon for women in sports, sponsored. But that was the hike to base camp. That's it. But none of my climbs were sponsored. Not a single climb was sponsored. None. So it was nice to go and give 2 women the opportunity, to start their career, their climbing career.
It must have been the highlight.
Oh, it was amazing. We looked like rock stars. I picked the outfit. We had like our team emblem. Everyone was talking about us on the hike, and it was beautiful. You can see it on my Instagram.
I will. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously you've had all of these incredible things. I mean, I feel like you don't sit still. You don't.
I try.
But out of all the things, looking back, so, I mean, I would say your career in this space is now about 15 years strong?
Yeah.
What would be something that really stood out for you as something that you forever hold, whether that's good or bad?
The day I arrived back from Everest. And most people think that the answer to this question is an award or is a project. And I've done amazing projects. I've had an incredible awards. I'm very honored. But I think to me, the day my father came to the airport to pick me up, and I was so nervous because there was so many negative stuff on social media, and I was so nervous about how he would react or how the family would react.
But why would there be negative things?
Because I was climbing and it was public, and I was doing something new. So I wasn't received as a hero, let's say then. Now it changed.
Yeah.
And I got to Jeddah airport, and those typical mundane, boring airport doors open, and I see my dad's face. And he was so happy.
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
Yeah, he was so happy and proud. And he didn't have a single line of worry or resentment in his face. So his face that day is worth a million Everest for me, because he was against it in the beginning, and he was afraid and worried and didn't know what to do. And in the end, he came back the proudest dad ever. Yeah. That to me is worth everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's very special, especially even more now because he just got diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
I'm so very sorry.
Thank you. That's what I was telling you. So last year was hard.
Yeah.
So he forgets a lot, but he doesn't forget mountains, and he doesn't forget me, and he doesn't forget these things. So it's very special.
That is very special, and I've got tears in my eyes now.
I know, me too. Don't make me cry.
Eyelashes on.
Me too. Don't let them fall off.
That's amazing.
So yeah. That to me, my dad's change, because he was against it and he was so worried about social and what's going to happen, to becoming the biggest supporter ever was like special.
Also, dads, they're quite protective and cautious, and they really, I'm sure he must have been so worried.
Oh my God. I don't think they've got
cell reception up there.
I have to tell you a story about my dad and the reception. So just to give you an idea of how much this man sacrificed, he chose to let me go and live my dream, and him living in horror over me sitting next to him and being miserable. So he chose that. So when I went to Antarctica, there's no cell reception there. The satellite doesn't pass all the time in that area. So there's basically limited connection. So the company...
Off the grid.
So the company did the mistake of telling me there's a website where the head guide has a tracker, It's a purple. It's a tracker, and it shows like a purple dot in this website. Like you go online, you log in online, and I mistakenly taught my dad this thing. So I taught him this. He would go online. You know, he's mashallah tech savvy. So he would go and he would look every day. He'd look at the dot, it moves. He'd look at the dot, it moves. Then sometime the dot didn't move. It stopped moving. Okay. We were resting or I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So he'd like get up out of bed and like call.
It hasn't moved.
It hasn't moved. He called the company. He's like, I need to know if she's okay. And they're like, Sir, Mr. Moharrak, the dot is, we're receiving, you know, we know that they're fine. We know that the dot is connected to the, if it's not connected, you won't get the purple dot. He's like, but this dot, can I know my daughter is okay in this dot? Like, he was just freaking out to the extent where it was a rest day. We were sitting down having dinner. Another guide from another group came with a satellite phone.
Where's Miss Raha? We have your dad on the phone.
And I was like having dinner, trying to be cool in front of, I was the only female in the team, trying to be cool in the thing, and your dad's calling. The phone call was this, hello, you okay, Habibti? Okay, Habibti. Okay, bye.
Doesn't matter if you climbed Everest, you went to Denali, he just needs to know his daughter and baby girl is
this
okay.
This dot doesn't tell me she is okay. So I bless him for accepting. And this is a huge thing for a father, a huge thing. And many fathers need to hear this. You will be afraid. You will be terrified. But I love what my dad said. He's like, I would rather you be far away from me and happy than next to me and miserable. Like, I would rather choose that. And me living in horror, ma'takif in the masjid, like, for you.
The purple dot hasn't moved.
How will I know my daughter? Of course, in this story, this dot was purple, green, and orange. I can't remember exactly what it is.
So you were the purple dot?
No, the whole team was one
team.
dot.
Okay,
but
got
I
you.
can't remember it's been so long. I can't remember the color, but every time I say the story, the dot color changes. So people come online and say, it was orange last time.
It was a colored dot and that you didn't move.
Yeah. So poor guy was like, you know, in horror, you know, me to explain to him where Antarctica is and stuff like that. He's like, Antarctica, they don't have airport. They don't have hospital. They don't have, he's like, they don't even have a flag. Their flag is the drawing of Antarctica. Like, he's just like, if you go, okay, I say, okay, you go. Something happened. How do I get you? How do I help you? And he's just freaking out.
So what do you say?
I try to help and educate him. I try to explain to them that they don't have an airport, but they have what they call blue ice landing strips. So they don't have a hospital, but they have Union Glacier, which is a very well-established outpost in Antarctica. So I have to educate him slowly, you know?
Probably in through and just, that's a piece of ice. Yeah, that's not a structure.
He Googled it. And of course you saw, like, if you Google Antarctica, you're like, where is this? You know, so he cracks me up with how he really makes me laugh, but I adore him because he really changed himself. And he is, to me, the epitome of fatherly love and social acceptance, because socially, to me, my father is the indicator of our social, you know, construct.
Yeah.
And if he could accept it, then society needs to accept me too, because I'm not doing anything wrong. So I bless him for putting up with me.
And you did. You initiated change.
Yeah, and he stopped asking, like, when I'm traveling, he's like, which continent are you on? He stops asking cities or countries. Which continent? Europe? Close by. Where in like Africa? Okay. So, yeah, bless him.
Bless him. Yeah. That's amazing. What a story.
He's awesome.
Being, like you said now, when you're sitting in a group or your team and you being, at times the only
most
female,
of the time. Yeah.
The only woman in a potentially male dominated setup.
Yeah. Especially then.
Did you ever feel a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Of course.
Of course.
Males most of the time are dominant. Like, it's just how they are most of the time. It doesn't make it right.
Did you feel you need to sort of puff up your chest or prove something?
Yes, because they didn't treat you equally. Like in the beginning, like I love this story. And then when I got to one of the climbs, I arrived. I was the only female. They were all special something from some special thing in either military or marine. Like, you need 6 of me to make one of them. Like, they were huge.
Big
huge guys.
Yeah.
Massive. professionals.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they were, but they were professionals, some kind of professional. And I went to the team briefing in teal pants and a lace shirt.
Hi guys, I'm in your team.
I am aware that I look very feminine.
I was gonna say, look at my outfit.
I'm
in my
aware.
floral dress.
Yeah, I know, because I look
very petite.
I am, but I'm not. I'm really not. So I show
the heart of a lion.
Yeah,
the roar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I know that I don't look like how much of a badass I am. I know.
Yeah.
So I show up and I'm very girly and they just couldn't have it. One of them was like, who the bleep is Barbie and what the bleep is she doing on the team? Yeah. And I told him, don't let my Disney hair, princess hair fool you.
It's Rapunzel.
It's big hair. Imagine, like I show up like this in climbing, and that time I had even longer hair at the time, and they were not the nicest. They were mean, and they were,
But eventually
you win them over. You only win this kind of bullying over by actions, and when I mean action, don't show weakness. I know you want to cry sometimes, but don't show them that it bothered you. Just prove I wanted to be the best teammate. I carried the same weight. I was as efficient. I didn't complain. I didn't whine. I did everything. Everything. But bless, sometimes, when you're tired and you have like cramps from, our special time and you're climbing and then we have to do gear split. So bless Garrett. He would give me the lightest bag sometimes because I would have major back pain because it's our special time in the month. Yeah. And that's the only special treatment I got sometimes. And he wouldn't do it in front of the guys. Like he would just
on the side.
No, he would just he's like, this is your bag. And he would just, sweetly give me the bag that has like the paper towels or something.
But I must think that,
but other than that, I was treated equally. Climbing is an equalizer.
Well, this is it. That was also my point, because you've got people listening here. The majority of the people listening are women. And it's so amazing that you said that, because it's almost like every man, woman for themselves.
Yeah, it is.
It's your own race.
They won't trust you if you're not a strong team player.
So for you, it's almost like you don't really need to prove yourself. You just need to do what you love.
Yeah. No, but you need to do what you love, and you need to be thick-skinned enough not to let them get to you.
Yeah.
Because they are
that's the emotional side of it.
They can be very mean. They can say horrible things like princess and stuff like that. By the end of it, I became warrior princess, which was very cute. So they changed mentality. And then I have friends from backgrounds that I never imagined I would have.
Yeah.
Like some guy from
sort of tied in from all
parts of the world that I wouldn't imagine they would be in contact with me. And we're still friends, many of them. And then you get people that just are very rigid and very mean and very racist and very sexist. And these guys are just horrible. Yeah.
Now you're famous.
Not really. I think I'm more infamous than famous.
No,
because people know more what I did than who I am. Yeah. There's a misconception just because I'm public that I like being public. I'm actually not. I'm very chill and I'm very.
Did you expect it? Did you expect this level of fame?
But I was very lucky that I use that platform to go into media because it's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So
it is very useful.
It's very useful. Yeah. Like it has helped me become a really good speaker. It has helped me become a TV presenter, a radio host and stuff like that. Like the spotlight of being that athlete has, catapulted me into where I wanted to go. But I didn't imagine it would be this. I didn't imagine I could make a living out of it, for example. I didn't imagine. But again, I worked really hard for it. Yeah. I worked really, really hard for it. It didn't just come to me. Because a lot of people think that you do it and then people just flock to you. No, they don't. You need to.
But I feel you've also aligned yourself so nicely when it comes. Are you quite picky with people who you work with? Yeah.
I curate who I work with. Yeah. Super picky. And that is because I don't put money over principle. Which
very rare.
Very rare and dumb sometimes.
Honestly, it goes around.
I have to be very honest. Yeah. This principle was fabulous until COVID hit. And then I was like,
oh God, what do I do?
But I held on to it. I'm so proud of myself. I never work with a brand that I don't feel proud to work with, even if they want to pay a lot of money. And I've turned down a few brands that I think weren't appropriate or I'm not proud to associate with even despite the money. Sometimes I regret it, but never did I Did I change my principle? And I think that keeps you real. It keeps you poor, but it keeps you rich in principle and
That's
rich
it.
in value.
And
So,
to be
but I have to be honest, yeah, like it's the you lose a certain amount of monetary success because you know a lot of the brands that pay are the brands that need people to talk about, and sometimes I don't want to because it's inappropriate. But never let go of your values. But I have to be honest, sometimes it's just like,
look, it's one of those things. It's sort of you win some, you lose some.
yeah.
But
don't lose your values. Don't lose your values.
I don't think you can ever. I mean, again, I feel like
it's not my character.
It's not. I don't ever.
I'm telling you, COVID was a tough time. Like COVID was a time, but I didn't sell out.
Yeah.
But most people do sell out. Most people just their social media looks like a cheap advertising. Have I advertised brands? Absolutely. Why not? You do fun shoots with projects.
Yeah, 1000%.
And brands you like the brand.
Absolutely.
But does my account look like, today we're going to sell this mug and then tomorrow we're going to sell this mug? Like my account doesn't look like that for a reason. Because I refuse to make it look like that. I refuse.
But that's amazing.
It is amazing. Just not good for the bank.
No, but it's like, I was like, talking to my husband again, preparing. I'm like, I saw an ad and it was of Tag. I'm like, oh my God, that's who's coming on today.
Yeah, I work really hard for that. Yeah. To curate my name goes where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that carries on a reputation.
Yes.
And so a reputable brand who is serious about collaboration, that's the holy grail. You want somebody with substance.
Exactly. And I would rather and I have the luxury of waiting and choosing because some people don't have the luxury. Yeah. But I believe most people that become sellouts become greedy. Because there are some people we can't judge, right? There are some people that need the money.
Absolutely.
And some people that need to do this project, even if they don't really believe in it. But I've noticed that the ones that are very successful and the ones that are already have a lot of rapport, take these really bad projects a lot. Yeah. So not talking about the people that need it. I'm not judging you. Yeah. If you need it, I understand. 100%. I'm talking about the people that are just greedy.
Yeah.
And you can tell a difference.
If you were to go back to, you went to university here.
Yes.
So if you can go back to where you were living.
Okay.
At university, you were like maybe 20.
Okay.
19.
Okay.
And if there's one thing that you would tell the 19-year-old,
besides wear sunblock,
I think that's the sunblock, guys. Yeah.
No, I like everybody. I was very I didn't care about sunblock, but I started being cautious at 25, which I think was already late. So 25.
Okay.
Before my 30s, I started becoming very cautious about sunblock. I think that was very late. So you really need to wear sunblock early.
Okay.
I think. But I would tell her, I can't say one thing.
Okay.
But I would say
pieces of advice.
Love the thick eyebrows and fluffy hair and sharp nose. It will be your signature and people will die for them in a few years. Never be a cheap copy of someone else. Be an authentic version of you. And never be afraid of failing because there's a difference between being a failure and failing. Failing is a tax we pay life in order to get to where we want. So it's okay to fail. Just don't be a failure.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Juggling roles, obviously, of what you do technically professionally, the fact that you are a mentor, the fact that you are an ambassador. We spoke a little bit about the Saudi Games. Do you take time? I mean, we, again, off camera, we talked about it slightly, but what do you do to be able to kind of disconnect, switch off, recuperate? A lot of the times, again, there is a lot of emphasis placed on how we de-escalate from a stressful situation, a stressful life, whatever it might be. So again, coming from somebody who is honestly like high octane, really like just go, physically and emotionally, how do you switch off?
My body just does I don't know. That's a flaw I have. Yeah. I don't know when to rest until my body forces me to. Yeah. But this is something you must allow yourself rest time. Personally, I'm going through this phase now. I was so exhausted after last year with everything that happened in Saudi Games and now I'm just trying to do small things every day. So I'm so lucky I have the luxury of doing that. I don't have kids. I don't know how you guys do it who have kids. How do you rest?
I mean, it's not Everest. It's hard, but
it's much harder, I think.
It is pretty hard.
I think having
Not
kids
gonna
is
lie.
much harder, 24 hours. Now I just I'm taking time for me. I'm reading more books. I'm catching up on TV shows I wanted. I'm catching up on my Spanish lessons. I just want time for me. I'm looking for that dream project now. I'm actively looking for that dream.
What does that entail?
I would love to have to be a host on TV. I would love to do that. To have.
You have been.
I've been.
Yeah.
I've done TV shows. I've done radio shows. I've done many things. I've done everything, almost everything. But I don't have like a set, stable TV hosting gig. That's what I like to do. I'm going to put it out there. I'd love to do that. I'd love to have a hosting gig. I love people. I'm very social.
Yeah, I feel like it's a natural.
It would suit me very well.
Much,
Something in Dubai. With that, I'd like to do other fun projects that are like one-offs from time to time.
Coming onto It Takes a Village.
That's not a project. That's a pleasure. Come on. Oh, but you know what I mean. Like I want something that's more stable. I'm in that era in my life now where I just feel like stability is
key.
It's getting better.
Okay, so that's what we need.
Yeah.
Would that be part of your, like, let's say for the next 5-year plan?
Yeah, I don't really think in 5-year plan. I just think in what I feel will be fulfilling. And for now, that's what I want. I can't say that I want that full time, I don't want something that's full time. That's why I like the presenting thing because it's dynamic.
And it gives you that flexibility and the balance. If you are itchy to do something off on the side, you can.
Yes.
Yeah. That is the dream.
Yeah. I think I've worked hard enough and paid enough dues to have that.
And it will happen.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Inshallah.
I'm putting it out there.
That's it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. People go through life and they set goals. Very, very, either very, very big goals or small goals. In order for them to sort of see these, the majority of the time we set goals, some of them work, some of them don't, you kind of lose steam along the way. What would you say to that person who is in the process of setting a goal, but wants to really see it through?
Determination and discipline. No goal worth getting will ever be easy. It just doesn't work. What comes easy goes easy. So I don't think they don't come together.
Do you think luck plays a part of it?
Yes, but you also make your luck. Yes. I
agree.
You are lucky in things, but you also make some of that luck.
For sure.
For example, the Saudi Games, the first year, I was called to play, and I have already played beach volleyball before beach volleyball was something in Saudi already. And people told me, you're lucky that you won it. Because we won the first place. I'm like, yes, I was lucky in the game, but I was not lucky in winning. Because if I didn't play beach volleyball beforehand, I wouldn't be called to play in the tournament. So I made my luck. Yes, I was lucky that the wind was in my favor. I was lucky that I didn't have injury. This is luck that's out of your hands. But was I lucky that I managed to play in the tournament? I worked for that. Like I sacrificed training and time and money to be a player before you could make money in beach volleyball in Saudi. So that's what I mean by make your own luck. Yeah. Luck is not a big chunk of luck is God-given luck, but another chunk is luck you make.
And it's kind of like, with the beach volleyball, but it's kind of like having good weather.
For example,
good weather when you were on Everest, for example.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from the fact that you train.
هذا رباني. Yeah. This is the luck رباني. But not getting injured.
Absolutely.
The weather can be perfect. And then you could do something stupid. And then you get hurt.
Absolutely.
But because you trained enough, you negated the chances of you making something stupid. So you make your own. Yeah. Luck is a huge thing. You can be a top athlete and then Allah subhanallah, you get injured. Unlucky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any regrets?
Yeah. I mean, I would rather regret things I did than things I didn't do, but I regret not starting early.
Okay.
I wish I started earlier.
How old were you when you started?
25.
So early.
I wish I started earlier.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there an age requirement? 18? I'm assuming?
Yes, most
Okay.
of them. No, I wish I started earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one of the regrets I have. Is that it? um,
That's really good though.
I'm very lucky. Yeah. Again, the sunblock thing.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a sunspot here that's really bugging me, and
oh my goodness, I feel like we should just
it's
get
really bugging
some
me.
sort of sponsorship with
Right
some
here.
sunblock.
I have a sunspot here. The entire
You
face.
can't even see it
because I put a ton of makeup on.
Stunning and glowing.
Thank
It
you.
looks like you just wake up and
That's
you
the peel.
slather on.
That's the peel. That's the peel.
Looks amazing.
No, I mean, starting early, and yeah, I'm very lucky that that's one of very few things I
feel that that's something.
Yeah, I'm not a regretful person because I do almost everything I want. So I'm not very regretful. But yeah, I think your life, however beautiful or ugly, shapes you. You can't just have a beautiful life or just an ugly life. So some of the bad shapes you.
Absolutely.
Some of the things that come to you, and I've learned the hard way that sometimes when you want this specific thing, you want it, and it doesn't come to you, it's because it's not meant for you. I've learned this. Like, I want something so badly, and then I don't get it, and then years later, I'm like,
that's why
I didn't get it. So accept that.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Accept that there are things that are meant for you and things that aren't, and you work hard for the things that are meant for you, and if it doesn't come to you, it wasn't meant.
Big one. It's a big one. And it's, once you're in the thick of it, it's hard to see that.
No.
It's only retrospectively.
So blindsided by what you want.
Absolutely.
You don't have the foresight to see. But I've seen so many things where, just recently I was dying to work with a brand. Dying to work with this brand. Dying. And years, and they've always been like off the cuff. They're always like, nah. And I'm like, it's not meant to be. After the things happened in Gaza, it was one of the brands that was like really badly bashed.
Wow.
And the shoot I was meant to do was during the week that Gaza happens.
You see? It's not up to you.
And I really wanted that brand.
It's not up to you. It's Allah decides.
Imagine I had a contract. Imagine I had a contract
disaster.
with a brand that's being perceived as supportive to the problem. تخيلي.
No.
And I really wanted it.
No.
When I saw that.
But the thing is, does that not reaffirm?
When I saw that, I was like,
wow.
Yeah. Because I wanted it so badly, and then it just didn't happen. And then the week was the week of the shoot, and the week I was supposed to post about it. Yes. I was like, that's what I'm saying. Recently, I learned that sometimes.
Well, good. That means these are small signs. Like, please relax. And I'm sure every single person who's listening.
I was so frustrated that I didn't get it.
Yeah. And you're like, why?
And now I know why.
Yeah. But that's it. Let this be a reminder.
Yes.
For everyone who's listening, in the middle of something that you're trying so hard to do, and it's just not working out. You take one step and you take two steps back. It's not meant to be. Yeah. Let it go.
Yes. Do everything you can to get it if you believe it's meant for you.
Yeah.
But if you still don't get it, it's not meant to be.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I always end the interview with a quote from my beautiful guest.
Oh, that's lovely.
The one that I was going to use today, just to kind of pull context for the whole episode, is nothing adventured is nothing gained.
I love that.
What's yours?
Not everyone will climb Everest, but every single one of us has an Everest to climb. So find your Everest.
That is so true. I cannot thank you enough.
مش بعد منك. The time went like
it's, honestly, I could literally, each mountain, I could dedicate an episode on.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. You're so inspirational for so many women. And that's why I was close to knocking down on your door. AJ knows.
Almost.
Literally was going to camp outside
but you know what?
your house.
You did it in such a way that was so authentic and so sweet and not overbearing. inspiring. I felt like you were determined because you really wanted as a compliment to me and not pushy. Do you know what I mean? Like it felt warm. No, it felt very genuine. So
I'm glad.
And I'm sorry it took a while.
No,
I was
please
just
don't.
going through one of my tired phases.
Please,
I
can
swear
totally
after the
imagine.
Saudi games, my knees were kufta. Like after the games, I couldn't move.
Yeah.
Yesterday I played volleyball for the first time after the final, after a month. Yesterday.
But for fun.
For fun. Yeah, for fun. But I was still feeling it. I was still like, but
No, but honestly, just having you here, listening to your
I love
story.
what you do.
Thank you. It's just, again, we mothers, women, raising another generation to live curiously, to go out and push the boundary, break stereotypes. These types of things start in childhood. So that your story and listening to that and all its nuances and everything to do with that, that's what I wanted. And I'm just so grateful.
I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you.
And I'm happy it worked out. And whenever I feel like time flies is when you know that you've had such a lovely time.
I'm so happy. Thank you
Shukran.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to They Say It Takes a Village. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I look forward to bringing you another one next week. Don't forget, please subscribe, rate, and review so I can reach and help even more parents. And if you've got a topic that you'd like me to cover, please head over to my Instagram page, ittakesavillage.me, and drop me a line.